channel coming.
Welcome to the channel. For the first time viewers, welcome back for my existing subscribers. It's 5 stars here, and I want to go over a subject that I recently have experienced myself, and that is when you go through a slump in Rainbow Six Siege and how I reacted to it. So I want to give you guys some of my feedback and some of the things I did to kind of get myself out of that slump. Now, before I go ahead and define what I mean by a slump, I want to go ahead and thank my teammates for being overly encouraging during this downtime. Now, a slump to me is when you have 1 to 2 full days. I'm talking about 3, 4, 5 hours of just straight bad games. Like nothing goes your way. Everything you try to do other than reinforcements just does not work out. So that's the type of day I was having. I was actually on a 2-day slump of just, I even dropped a donut in a ranked game, which isn't really something I do. I think the lowest I'll get in a ranked game might be like 4 or 5 kills, but I could not finish a kill. I couldn't pick off an opponent. Like I would have open shots and it just was not working for me. One of the things that I was doing to kind of look back at why I was losing these gunfights is every time I would die, I would watch the kill cam, make my call out, and kind of just focus on how I died. Like I've given you guys that advice before in the past. But I was really doing that to figure out where I messed up and just trying to get back to a point where I wasn't getting picked off like I was literally like first to die. Like I said earlier, I would see somebody first, I would shoot them up, and I would just get wrecked. I mean, I thought it was my connection at first, but I had a good ping, I had a good connection, so it wasn't that. And what I really had to start doing is going back to the basics. And I would also recommend, this is one of the most important things, is just to switch up your role, switch up your play style, because that play style might just not be working for you at that time. You might just be running into some opponents where your rushing play style just isn't going to cut it for you. You got to start playing slower. So that's essentially one of the things I did that I think was the most impactful. As you'll see in some of the clips here, I was playing with Legion instead of my usual Bandit, Ella, or Jaeger, and I wasn't aggressively trying to deny the entry as I was before. Usually I'd be one of the first people the enemy would run into. Not spawn peeking because I don't have the best aim, although my aim is pretty decent. I don't have the best long range aim, so I try to stay alive. And whenever they get to the window, to the door, or into the building, that's normally when I go for my approach. But I had to switch that up and start waiting for people to come to me, and then setting up some traps for people to fall into, and then picking them off that way. So that's one of the changes I decided to make. Now, like I said, you have to switch up your playstyle, but that doesn't mean you have to abandon your playstyle. Like if you're a really good roamer, it doesn't mean, well, you're having a bad stretch, don't go roaming ever again because you suck at it now. It's not working out right now. So maybe you need to help your team by doing something different versus continuing to essentially fail and get picked off, put your team into 5v4 situations. I mean, you're not going to win too many games that way unless you have people that carry you. Now, one way I like to look at it is if you have a Hall of Fame quarterback and he's thrown 3 interceptions in one half, you want to start changing up the way you get your offense. Like you're not going to continue to aggressively throw the ball. You might work it in there every now and then, but you're essentially going to change it up and start running the ball more. So that's all I'm saying here is like, don't abandon your play style altogether, but don't keep beating the dead horse. All right, so another tip that I can give you, if you made it this far into the video, thank you for watching this far so far. And the other tip that I can give you is to pair up with somebody. So when you're going to make your pushes, make sure you have a buddy. That can limit the amount of times you're exposed for death on attacking because you have a second set of eyes, plus you have backup. A lot of times you get pinched and then the enemy team makes a big play and you end up getting killed because they were communicating and you just ended up not being hot enough to kill 2 people versus, you know, when you're struggling to just kill 1. So get a buddy and push together. I mean, you should be doing that anyways, but especially when you're not playing that well, that is going to be critical. And 2 more things that you can do are take a break. So if you're just doing really bad back to back to back to back, just take a quick break, gather your thoughts, think about what you could be doing better, think about why you keep dying. Like if you're rushing a lot and getting picked off fast, think about different approaches that you could take. So taking a break is very important. The second thing is one of my least favorite things of the game, which is play some terrorist hunt. So I recently got into playing terrorist hunt just to work on my aim. This is how I've gotten as good as I am with the reflex sight, as fast as I've gotten to this point. And as you can see from all my older content, it was pretty much holographic. And it took me a lot longer to acquire my aim for the reflex, so I wasn't in love with it right off rip. But what I did was I played a lot of terrorist hunt, played about 10-15 matches of it, and I started to get the hang of it a lot faster. So once I saw that, I used it for when I was in my slump to try to get out of it, because any little thing that I could do to kind of refocus my aim and just get a little bit better, I was trying to do as much as I can to break the bad rhythm, because I knew I was just in a slump. Like, I know I'm not a bad player, and I know I'm not the type of player to drop 1 or 2 kills in a ranked match and barely help my team as far as eliminating the enemies. I was still doing the processes that help my teammates, like call outs, reinforcements, and things like that, but I wanted to be able to do more and get back into my original role. So that is one of the things that I would say is pretty much up there with my top tip, is play a little bit of terrorist hunt if you feel like your aim is off. If your game is off, though, then that's a little bit different. Like I said, pairing with a buddy and taking a break are going to be 2 tips that you can try. So if you're not already a subscriber, now would be a great time to drop that subscription if you enjoyed the video. I do play some other games other than Rainbow Six Siege, but it is my main game. And that is all the time. I appreciate you guys watching the video. You guys take it easy.